some stuff with Ecamm live with Marty last Saturday.
Oh, nice.
I got to make the time to get it set up.
Yeah, Ecamm is so good.
It's complex, but a nice complex.
Yeah.
I ended up getting a subscription to Descript, and I mean to try Riverside. Is it Riverside that they bought? I think.
Did they buy Riverside? Yeah,
I thought
wasn't a
they
huge
did.
fan of Riverside, but maybe it'll change.
Yeah.
I think Riverside's kind of expensive too. Mike Potter was trying it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. And I don't really do much remote, but I'm planning on having Rachel on my podcast sometime. And
Oh,
so
nice.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh, she's becoming the popular podcast guest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ozzy, this isn't In Touch with Kitties.
Could be in touch with Kitty.
Marty will not be here. He's traveling. He's in St. Louis. And then Mr. Gamet should be here shortly.
All right.
Still a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I have the exciting news is my brother joined the Apple family and bought his first iPhone, and we bought matching Apple Ultra watches.
We'll see. Maybe we'll see him in the chat.
Okay.
You can talk.
Ozzy, off the mouse pad.
They were selling the Ultra watches for $449 for version 1 that are refurbished.
Nice.
And so we both decided that sounded like a good idea.
Oh, you got it too?
Yeah, we both got big Ultra watches.
You like
it? I like it better than my little watch. I mean, I have little tiny wrists, and so I was worried it wouldn't work. But
yeah, but you being a camper and you're always exploring,
right?
Good I was tempted.
I took it up north and used it for hiking maps, and I loved it. It was like right there. Yeah. Yeah, I like it a lot.
Cletus. The dock worker strike ended. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
That was short-lived, which was great because we would have been in big trouble.
Down.
Yeah.
Down.
All right, I'm going to start the other recording so it's ready to go so I don't forget. Oh, you had your queued ready to go. Oh, we just need Mr. Gamet.
Yeah, I might have to take him upstairs.
Okay.
We're going to have to assign Jeff all the tasks because he was late.
Ozzy, get off.
Go ahead. Whatever you got to do, bud.
Okay. You are making this.
Now I'm starting to play with automation on CarPlay. Trying to get.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I go to my friend's house, it puts on her favorite station and starts playing it because I listen to podcasts. I don't really listen to music, but when I get to my friend's house, changes over, plays her music. You know, nice.
Let's see. You know I got a Vision Pro, right, Jill?
Oh, you did? Really?
I did.
What do you do with it?
Play with it. There you go.
Play with it. Nice. Oh, that's nice. Do you use it like as a big monitor, or are you using it for entertainment?
All kinds of stuff. I just kind of, after Marty and Eric are doing their podcast on the Vision profiles, I got kind of, I really would like that to play with.
Yeah, I kind of do want one too, but
it is expensive, but
yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah.
You only live once.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it doesn't do my use case.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably there are probably not many use cases. One of the big things is the big problem is I'd love to be able to use Microsoft Teams on it for work, but you need authenticator to authenticate it getting signed in, and
right,
can't do that right now.
Yeah, I got to recover from the car before I start thinking about a Vision
Jeff
Pro.
Gamet, I summon thee.
Ben Rathick, I appear.
I banish.
All you ended up banishing was his pants.
Uh-oh.
He just did it.
Yeah. Well, now I
You
did it.
banished me.
No.
Hello,
Mm.
Mr. Jeff Gammett. How are you?
I am well. And
Did you have a
it's
good
great to see you.
chat about the Mint Linux?
We had a nice chat about Mint Linux.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give me a little more gain if you can.
Soon to have. Oh, yeah. Wow. It got bumped down all on its own again. And I bet I suddenly sound a lot better, don't I?
Yep.
Yes, you do.
Yep.
You do.
Which episode is this?
326.
6.
Oh,
Need
why
link?
don't I have the right link?
I'll give it to you in just a second here, Jeff.
Thank
Okay,
you.
He'll probably get it quicker than me.
I thought I had it open. I bet what happened was I closed the tab for this week's show instead of last week's.
See you there. All right.
Yeah,
7.
I blame Ben.
Yeah.
Because of
that's
Matt Scott, I got Spark email, and now all my email is automatically sorted, and I'm very well organized.
nice.
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 Flaming alerts when Dave sends me an email, or other people too.
All right. I think audio hijack's working. Zoom is recording. We're live streaming.
Yeah,
Hello,
so
everybody in the YouTube chat.
Hijack that audio.
Hijack it. Got Cletus in the room so far. Glad you're here.
My
All right.
brother coming shortly.
Here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome to episode 326 of In Touch with iOS, the show that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg, and I have Jill McKinley back on the show. How are you doing, Jill?
I'm doing great. Just great to see you all.
Yeah, great to see you as well. So glad you're here. And Ben Rainthic's back. How you doing, Ben?
I am fantastic.
Good. Glad to hear that. And also here, Jeff Gammett. So great to have you. How have you been and how's it going?
It's going fine, but as of now, I think it's going fantastic because look at the awesome people I get to hang out with.
I know. And as always, every week it seems like I don't think there's going to be much to talk about. There's plenty to talk about this week. We're going to hit beta. Some activities been going on that, and some updates have been going on with iOS, as well as we'll be hitting on a couple other topics and checking things out. But let's just jump right in and let's see what's going on out there. We'll start off with In Touch with Vision Pro this week. Unfortunately, Marty isn't here this week. Hey, Marty. So wish you were here. I know he had to travel this week. So I'm going to kind of go over some of the things that were announced this week with Vision Pro. Vision Pro 2.0.1 was a fix was released, and this is fixing a Safari YouTube fix. It was just a very minor update when of Vision Pro 2 that came out in September, a month ago as we record, and only 3 weeks after that. So it can be downloaded on all Vision Pro headsets. I just installed it. Well, actually, I'm running beta, so I didn't install it. It just has some important bug fixes, and the big thing was YouTube video player in Safari may freeze. Safari, I haven't seen that, but you also had some messages may unexpectedly quit when you are replying to a message with a shared Apple Watch face. So it's out there. If you're not running beta, make sure you go run the go install this update. So that's pretty important. It's got some good fixes this week. And speaking of beta, they did see the third beta for Vision OS 2.1. Not much to know of really what was included in this in 2.1, but there are features that Apple has not yet released, such as the option to use a larger ultra-wide screen for your Mac virtual display, as well as supporting multi-view in the MLB and MLS games. So if you're running beta like I am, go check it out. I decided to live on the edge on Vision Pro only because it's not really that much of a life-threatening device if I don't have it working properly. I can always revert back to it. It's not like your iPhone where it is mission critical. Vision Pro, not as mission critical. But although I did install beta on my iPhone 16 Pro Max, which I know that it's unheard of that I did that. But I just was growing very tired of all these bugs that are in 18.0, so which we'll talk about now in just a second. Yeah, I did decide to do that. We'll talk a little more about that in just a second here. And last story I want to talk about here, this was an app that was on, and I just discovered it not too long ago, and I wish Marty was here to tell us a little bit about it, but this was an app called Juno, and this was an app that was designed for watching YouTube on the Vision Pro, which you could not do. You had to go to Safari in order to be able to watch YouTube videos. Well, it's been removed from the App Store, and the developer said that back in April, YouTube emailed him and saying that that Juno was violating YouTube's terms of service and YouTube's API by modifying the native YouTube.com web user interface and using their trademarks and iconography.
Iconography.
Iconography. And there I got. Thank you. That's it. That can be confusing to customers. So he did switch from using the embedded player to the website player and made it clear that Juno was an unofficial viewer and explained that YouTube that as a web viewer, Juno is not using their APIs, but they chose not to. But they kept pushing it. So he just it was removed in response of YouTube's complaint. So, what a surprise! You know, when you don't have something on there, and then come on, YouTube people, you should just create a native app and be done with it. I mean, come on. I mean, I don't know what you're waiting for. I mean,
Well, what they're waiting for is Vision OS to die. That's what they want.
That's
I
right.
mean, it's not going to happen. I don't think. So
No.
So that is the news of this week with Vision Pro. Let's go on and talk about beta this week. iOS 18.1 beta 3 is still out there. That has not been any updates as so far. How's been your experience, Ben, with the 18.1 beta 3 on your iPhone?
It's been fine. It's one of the few betas in the cycle that actually works.
That's good, because I agree, because it has been working, pretty well for me. So I haven't spent a lot of time on AI. I'm going to ask you a little bit if you've had to when we get to that AI discussion here in a minute. So then watchOS 11.1 third beta was released, but then it turns around and got pulled because there were issues. So just yesterday, as we record this, users were complaining that the update caused Apple Watch to freeze or lock up until they restarted the device. And this is the third software version of that Apple's pulled over the past month. They did pull iPad OS 18 for the iPad Pro M4 chip models, as well as HomePod 18.1 beta 2 after the beta caused some HomePod speakers to stop working. Ooh.
Whoops.
So it's been kind of interesting. I've seen this many beta versions pulled. But then they did release a new version of the HomePod software 18.1 in public public betas for tvOS as well as HomePod, and it's minor in scale. Not much to really talk about what tvOS has, but I would venture to say just some updates, which I am running beta on one of my Apple TVs here, and it seemed kind of sluggish. So I just started using it yesterday when that came out, and seemed to have proved its performance. So something of note when it comes to those betas. And Jill, are you running beta on your iPhone right now, or are you being smart?
Drinking from the fire hose right now, and everything's on beta except for my MacBook. But I'm now thinking I should just turn it off for a little bit now because I am.
Yeah.
But I haven't had really any problems with anything yet. So. Except my car.
Good.
My car is now a little bit like, oh, we don't support this, and then it kicks in and it works. So I don't know. But that's the only beta thing I've noticed. Yeah.
So as I just mentioned, iPad OS 18.0.1 is now available. That was released today as we record this. It brings an update to the iPad OS 18 for the M4 iPad Pro models. And for the first time since iPad OS 18 was pulled for those devices, and it was released that there was a small number of M4 iPads that were bricked. Scary. Well, I was able to install it and didn't have a problem, but then I decided to go on to beta anyway. So I'm all in on beta this week, I tell you.
And you're living on the edge.
I really am. So I have it on my iPad as well. But you now can download iPad OS 18.0.1, and you can get on 18 for the first time of those that was held back. And they said it was just a couple of users, and they're not really giving some specifics. What are some of the updates, including messages may unexpectedly quick when replying to a message with a shared Apple Watch face. Performance may be impacted due to an issue of memory allocation. So, but go out there, get that. It's important. And then iOS 18.0.1 has also been released. And it's very important to check that out and install it. It'll have some fixes here, including the freezing screen, and that was the biggest bug. The touchscreen was temporarily unresponsive. I did experience that many times. The camera was freezing. I've had that happen too. And messages, like I just mentioned, having an issue with that as well, and some performance. I said, come on, guys, this is an iPhone 16 Pro Max, got the latest and greatest here. Why is this happening? So, for those of you not on beta, did you update? I think it's just you, Jeff.
I've updated my iPhone, and my Apple Watch is updating right now, and that's all I've had time for.
Okay.
And it's been a busy day.
Yeah, me too. Yep, it's been crazy. So, and I also mentioned that Mac OS Sequoia, also known as Tall Trees.
Oh yeah, I know that one. Yep.
Or Mac OS Tree Country.
Tree Country, you could call it. Just to bring the
not to be confused
similarity
with
to
wine
country.
But they're close enough in and they sound close enough together that Apple would absolutely do that.
I work for Tree Company or Tree Country.
So check that out too for Mac OS Sequoia. That's been released. That there were some bug fixes on there as well. I have not updated that yet. I got in late, so I'll definitely do that after the show tonight. Didn't want to take any chances. Got the show going on here, so but all my other machines I'll be hitting and getting those done too. So the other thing that we talked about, we did talk about Apple Watch, but like I said, they did pull it because there was been some bugs because 11.0.1 was fixing the battery drain and touchscreen issues. I'm sorry, I'm confusing it with the beta. They pulled the beta out there. 11.0.1 is out there and released. And that came out in September, only 3 weeks after it released 11.0. And it says it introduces bug fixes for the Apple Watch, fixes an issue that could cause the music app to crash. Plus, it addresses a bug that could cause the battery to drain faster than expected. There's also a fix for a bug that causes the touchscreen to be unresponsive. Did you guys? Well, again, you guys are on beta, but I don't put a beta on my watch. That's one thing I didn't do.
Same.
So. Were you experiencing any touch issues or unresponsiveness, battery drain on yours?
I don't think I was experiencing touch issues, but oftentimes when I have touch problems, I assume it's me. I think I was having a battery problem though, because when I would put my watch on charger in the evening, the battery level was significantly lower than I was expecting.
Okay. Well, so go out there and get that update. That's important. All these updates are important as far as the .0.1 update because they're bug fixes. Important to do. Don't even hesitate to grab that. You don't want to be on buggy software. I know, Apple, you shouldn't be doing this. We're beta testing for you, and this is not a beta device. This is not a beta release. So come on.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about iPhone 16. A couple things I have here, some good topics. So one of them is here's what you need to know about iPhone 16's fast charging versus MagSafe or USB. Now we now know Apple doesn't include these power adapters with iPhones anymore, but all us these days, a lot of us have a lot of adapters. But the unfortunate part is a lot of us probably have a drawer full of the old 5-watt small little cube brick that is pretty much useless at this point. It'll take absolutely forever to charge these newer iPhones. So as we know, all the iPhone 16 models can can charge with USB-C from 0 to 50%. It takes about 30 minutes approximately, and you need to have at least the 20-watt adapter or better for fast charging. If you already had an iPhone that could charge fast, you probably have the hardware you need, I'm sure. iPhones do charge fastest when the battery is low, and charging slows down. So you'll see most rapid charging usually at lower battery levels. So to be aware of that too. There was some speculation that the iPhone 16 models were going to support up to 45 watts charging, but tests were proven that was inaccurate. The charging maxes out at 30 watts, and that's what's similar to what last year's iPhone 15 charging was as well. So be aware that that's what you're going to have. But the next thing you need to know about is MagSafe. I've been using MagSafe all the time now. I don't use a USB C connector plug. I have a MagSafe adapter on my bedside, and it's also a great way to charge things, and it charges a lot faster. Apple now has a 30-watt adapter that's now selling for $39, so it's a little higher than it was before. It's one of the newer ones, as well as you can get them in 2 different sizes, 1 meter and 2 meter of charging. And it's really a great thing to having used one of these chargers. You guys use MagSafe charging?
Well,
Yes.
I use Qi too.
Okay.
And I have a variety of them between car and some fast, some slow. You're right. We have a whole mishmash of everything.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Yeah. I use MagSafe and everything else.
Yeah. So, Ben, explain Qi 2 real briefly for me, if you could, please.
To put it succinctly, it's basically it's iPhone MagSafe for the rest of us. Basically, they turned MagSafe 1 into iPhone MagSafe 1 into basically a universal standard.
Yeah. That about sums it up. So good. So it's you want fast charging. You're gonna definitely want to do things like use USB-C cables that are 20 watts or better. The MagSafe 30 watts or better. But there's a bonus. You can transfer files from the iPhone 16 Pro to another device very quickly. If you want to go pick up one of those USB 3 cables, that is a 10 gigabyte transfer speeds. So you're going to have these drives and be able to improve that as well. So, so far, Jill, are you with which iPhone do you have? You have a 14, 15?
Yeah, I have a 14. I'm
that's fine.
thinking I want to see how AI turns out, but yeah, so I have some fast chargers for it, but not the new ones. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think the 14 was still on Lightning, wasn't it?
Yep, Lightning. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so some good information as far as that goes. So let's let's move on here. Most people are aware of the great camera app called Halide. They went and dug deep into the iPhone 16 Pro camera. All the developers tend to find and try to do an in-depth look at new, and Halide is no different. They wanted to look at the new camera technology that Apple had introduced. So the developer took over 1,000 pictures with the iPhone 16 Pro to examine the changes in the camera setup, Apple's imaging processing, and more. Now, with the upgraded 48 megapixel ultra-wide camera, the iPhone 16 Pro found that the photos have impressive sharpness, but Apple did not add a larger sensor, which is still going to not be the full level of detail that you'd want in a wide camera, but it has a much better sensor. For macro photos, the 48 megapixel camera does wonders for up close shots. I have not tried a lot of that yet. All this stuff goes. And as for the main camera, which Apple now calls a fusion camera, which I was stumped at the Mac user group on Saturday, remembering what that was. And Jeff was kind enough to remember that, and he had my back on that one. It's using the sensor that had the same physical size of this 15 Pro sensor, but both 16 and 16 Pro have a fusion camera, whereas the 16 Pro had a larger and higher quality sensor. So this the 15 Pro and the 16 Pro combines pixels that can produce a better 24 megapixel and 12 megapixel image. In addition to that, 48 megapixel photos. So yeah, I'm seeing some cool things with the camera. I guess I haven't had a ton of time to work on it yet. I really want to spend some time on it because they really made some vast improvements. I know you like Halide. I think most of you here, if not all of you, like Halide. What do you think on this, Jeff?
I love when Halide does these deep dives into Apple's cameras because they're in the right place to be able to intelligently evaluate these cameras for us. So when when they say, hey, you're getting significantly better close-up shots, that means you really are getting significantly better close-up shots. So yeah, for me, this validates what I experienced briefly when I was playing with the iPhone 16 Pro in store, which is that that this is a really nice upgrade for the cameras.
Yeah. You got any thoughts on this, Joel?
I'm excited about the cameras. I mean, if I upgrade, it's primarily cameras, and I've loved that app for years because I'm an old school film. I developed my own film. I love the control, but I am excited about the photograph button too because my friend is always kind of fumbling around looking for the button to take a picture, and I think it's going to solve all
camera
her
control
problems.
button. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm excited about it.
Yeah. How about you, Ben?
Well, I mean, honestly, with the Lux apps like Halide, and I'm completely blanking on the video app right now. Yeah. For most cases, you would need a light DSLR or mirrorless camera. Your iPhone can do most of those cases now.
Yep. All right. So let's talk a little bit about battery capacities on the iPhone 16. This was revealed a couple weeks ago, but I wanted to talk a little bit about this as far as the increases in battery capacity compared to from the 15 to the 16. So on average, the 16 went up 6.3%. The 16 Plus went up about 6.6%. The 16 Pro is now up to 9.4% higher, and then the 16 Pro Max was at 6%. So battery capacity increased the most with the 16 Pro, which was like a 6% increase over other models. With the A18 and A18 Pro chips, the thermal improvements are a big factor with that. So some good benefits for sure. And they rated, I'm not going to read through all these, but 16 Pro Max can get 33 hours of video playback and 29 hours of streaming video and 105 hours of audio. So
that's pretty impressive.
Some pretty big numbers, and then all the numbers with the other models are much less. So there alone adds the value of the 16 Pro Max if you did do that all the time. So so even the 15 and the 15 Pro is still a good, decent iPhone. I mean, if those of you that have the 15 Pro, you still got a great iPhone for years to come. So and that's what's great about iPhones. You can hold on to your phones for 5-6 years and still get all the latest updates. I mean, it may not perform as what the newer models do after time, but I mean, that's the good thing about iPhone because you can hold on to your device for a fair amount of time. Like Jeff, you still have the 12, right? And
I still have the 12 Pro, and
my family member is going to be upgrading and taking my 15 Pro Max here, so she's going to be going from the 12. So, yeah, it's that's what's great about iPhone is just being able to have a device you can, if you don't want to upgrade, you're not crazy like me. I upgrade every year. I take one for the team because I have to talk about this device every year, and why not?
And I
So,
drool with jealousy over your plan.
I just
so,
drool. I can't help it.
yeah, well, I've seen it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh gosh. So another thing that the iPhone 16 has added is the being able to edit spatial audio in videos with audio mix. So when you shoot video on 16 models, multiple formats like spatial audio and stereo are recorded to allow more audio customization. So if you record videos with the spatial audio turned on, you can go back later and edit the video sound to reduce background noise, to focus, people speaking on camera. So you've got all kinds of different mixes here. There's the 4 mixes that are available on the and what it does is it uses machine learning to identify and separate the background audio. So you have standard, which plays the original and the audio you recorded. You have in frame, which reduces sounds and voices from sources not visible in the video frame. Studio, which reduces background sounds and reverb to make it sound more like you're recording in a professional studio. And then cinematic puts all the voices on the front-facing track and leaving the environmental noises in the surround. So you got some really awesome abilities to being able to edit all this stuff, and it's real easy to do it. And I believe that this of course is on the 16, so that's what makes it a little tougher. But I have not played with this much yet, but I think this is another thing to be notable. That this is pretty amazing. More and more becoming as we call it every time, this is a computer in your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
That you've got these amazing tools for editing. What are your thoughts on this, Jeff?
Yeah, this is a computer in your pocket, and Apple's made it clear through design changes with the 15 and 16. This is not a phone first, and that's okay, because that's not how most people use their phone or their iPhones anymore. But not being able to do the editing for spatial audio correctly on an iPhone, to me, seemed really weird. So I'm glad that we have those features now, because you're going to be taking these or making these videos on your iPhone. You should be able to do some editing for them there as well.
Yeah. Ben, that was what you were doing there.
Sorry, I dealing with a little.
Oh, the cat.
Yes. So, look, you have a phone that is now basically as powerful as an M1 MacBook Pro.
Yep.
Yeah, you should be able to edit audio and video on it like that.
Yeah.
For sure. How about you, Joe?
Well, I was first thinking this is an audiophile thing. Jeff will love this. This is more of a Jeff thing than a me thing because I'm not that much of an audiophile. And when I read the article that you included in the notes, I was like, I want this. This is
Yeah.
amazing.
Of course you
So,
do. Yeah.
Yeah. I do nature. I do a lot of nature photography and videos. And I thought, oh, this
Yeah.
will be nice.
Yeah, being able to do some really cool nature spatial videos and photos, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Yep. Got some people in the chat here at youtube.com/intouchwithios, and we got Jill's brother Witherbucket talking about his new iPhone. He went with the 16, which is great to hear.
Nice.
He got a deal through T-Mobile. That's great. And he said that it's very good, especially with zooming macro. But I need to find the setting to stop it from reverting to 4:3 ratio every time. So that's understandable. And of course,
That sounds like a bug.
yeah, it could be a bug. I might check that. And of course, we have Guy Cyril, also known as VertShark, in the chat saying microphones are life, audio nerds forever. So,
This checks out.
yeah, leave that from Guy. Yeah, good to see everybody here in the chat here. So let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. This was we kind of talked about this late at last week's show, but I wanted to make sure I hit on this. Is Avoid vehicle motion sickness with this new iOS 18 feature. In iOS 18, Apple added several new accessibility features, and one feature in particular is likely to have some widespread appeal among car passengers is vehicle motion cues, which aims to prevent motion sickness when looking at an iPhone or iPad. And according to Apple, the research showed that motion sickness is commonly caused by a sensory conflict between what the person sees and what they feel, which can be prevent some users from comfortably using their iPhone or iPad while riding in a moving vehicle. Of course, you're the passenger when you're doing this, right?
I hope so.
The vehicle motions cues are designed to avoid this sensory conflict with the use of visual elements on the display that includes real-time charges and motion. And Apple explained this as vehicle motion cues, animated dots on the edges of the screen represent changes in vehicle motion to help you reduce sensory conflict without interfering with the main content. User sensors built into the iPhone and the iPad. Vehicle motion cues recognize when a user is moving in a vehicle and responds accordingly. The feature can be turned on and off in the control center, and the way you do that is you go into the settings under accessibility, then tap motion, and then you go into show vehicle motion cues, and then turn that on, and then you can have it on or automatic or off. So this is a pretty cool thing, and you actually can put this in the control center too. So if we talked about that last week, all these great buttons that are available to be added into the control center, that might be something you might want to toggle on and off, because if you travel in a car and you're using it while you're a passenger, not a bad idea. So, and this I think is available. Yeah, this is on the 16. I think is what it has. I don't think it's available on other phones, iPhones.
It's definitely available on the 15.
Is it on the 15? Okay, so it must be. Most iPhones can do this because it's sensory.
Or at least the 15 Pro Max.
Yeah, well, I can try it too for the moment. So what do you think on this, Jill?
I tried playing with it. I saw the settings when I upgraded, and my friend gets car sick when I drive, which is a me thing. And so I'm hoping that it helps this problem. She stops yelling at me.
Yeah. How about you, Jeff?
I like that Apple is taking into account that users are humans, and they are tailoring features for the actual device users. And it goes beyond the motion sickness thing. It's other accessibility issues. It's the health and fitness things that that they've added. I said accessibility issues. That's not how I meant to say it. Accessibility features. There we go. And same thing for health and fitness. So good on Apple for doing that.
Yeah. And you, Ben?
Look, I'm one of those people who has pretty much kept reduced motion on from the beginning because, well, as is, iOS will make me sick. Anything Apple does to help those of us who do have motion sickness is definitely good on me. And, well, I just turned on automatic. So
Nice.
Yeah. Good deal. So let's move on. Next topic here I want to talk about. There's a number of features that we may have all missed. And I'm starting to notice this too. Again, I haven't, we're so busy, I don't even have time to want to spend, but I starting seeing all these weird things that are happening. Like when I moved and looked at my watch, I got the border telling me that I've looked at it. But they did add a lot of these new features in Apple Watch, and there's about 25 of them here. We'll kind of go through a few of these. Number one was the digital crown for notifications. Previously in WatchOS 10, you had to swipe down on your Apple Watch face to get to the notifications, and now what they've done is real well. Now all you have to do is turn the digital crown downwards to reveal them and scroll accordingly. I think that was a good move because it was such a pain. You have to tap the crown and then go to the go to that and get to that menu. Of course, they've added check-in. I don't know if you guys use check-in at all with friends. I haven't done that too often.
I do.
no.
And putting it on the watch, I haven't played with it on the watch yet.
Either.
So I need to do that. On the phone, it's been a pain in the butt to use at times because if the location that that check-in thinks you're going to go to is not where you're actually going, then it's an it's a not obvious process to change the location for check-in.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how that works on the watch. I guess I'll have to go over to a friend's house and then go somewhere else and use check-in.
Yeah. So a couple of a number of things. Again, I'm not going to go through all these. This one's I like is the action button quick menu. In settings, you can assign various functions to the action button. But in WatchOS 11, you can also do this just by long pressing the action button. This will bring up the menu includes workout, stopwatch, waypoint, backtrack, dive, flashlight, shortcuts, voice menu, memo, number of other things. Being able to assign that there, so that's a nice little feature it's added. As well as music recognition, it's got Shazam now is coming pre-installed in WatchOS 11 under the moniker Music Recognition, so you can easily go and identify songs using your watch. They did add the Tides app, that checks the conditions of over 115,000 beaches all over the world for the next 7 days. It's kind of cool. You can exit sleep mode faster because I always have my watch on my nightstand. It's charging sideways, so I've got the nightstand mode. You had the long press the digital crown for about 3 seconds to exit the sleep mode. This delay felt like an age in the middle of the night. But WatchOS 11, you don't even need to do is press the digital crown and on the regular watch face, and it'll just disable immediately here. So pinning app, I like this pinning timers. You actually can now pin the timers that you use regularly at the top of the app interface. Simply scroll down to the bottom of the timers and then tap edit, and then you can tap the pin icon on any timer to pin to that top. So I think that's
I need to do this.
yeah,
Yes.
I do too.
I
And there's
need
some
to
new
pin this
double tap.
article.
Yeah, there's some new double tap actions that they've added. Double tap feature, which I never can. I gotta see why it's not working. I'm doing it right now as you see me on camera, and it's not coming up. It's like hit or miss here. You used to be able to scroll through and navigate content in any Apple app, including weather messages. You can now even use double tap to dismiss a timer that ended. Apple has also opened up double tap to developers with a new API, so you can expect some third-party stuff added to this too, which is kind of cool. And then they did add the Vitals and tracking options in the Vitals app, and so you can do things like health data, like oxygen levels when it's available. The wrist temperature, respiratory rate, heart rate, and it's all in one app here. So they did recustomize the play view, which that's kind of threw me off because you're so used to when you're playing something and all of a sudden it shows on your watch and oh wait, that's supposed to have a full screen. Oh no, it doesn't have that anymore. So it just kind of shows as a small little now playing view here. And you also can play audio through your Apple Watch speaker if you have a Series 10. Or an Apple Watch Ultra 2, you can do that. And you can change alert tones. So you can have, and there was live activities in the Smart Stack. So if you can, any activities that you're having going on. So there's a lot of new features that they've added in the Apple Watch. It's just people aren't aware of it. So yeah, just check the show notes with this article that we talked about here. But I think there's some great stuff. Was any of this stuff that you guys didn't know about, Joe?
A lot of it,
Well,
actually.
Yeah. I've been doing a deep dive into this because I went camping last week and I was places
Yeah.
without internet. And so I downloaded all my maps to my watch and went on
Good.
these hiking trips, and I got a chance to do that. The other funny thing is I was walking around my campsite without a flashlight and like, oh no, I can't see anything. Wait, I got a giant flashlight on my wrist. So
Mhm.
I got to test a lot of these functionalities, and I'm really enjoying what's coming in 18 on the watches.
Anything else you guys want to add on this?
Yes.
I was waiting for you, Jeff.
Well, I was trying to formulate how I wanted to say this, and I figured it out. I wish Apple did more to make it easier for the average person to find and experiment with all of these new features.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling that a lot of new features don't get used very much because most users have no idea that they exist.
Yeah.
The biggest thing I do is go to YouTube and I say, what's new in 18.0 watch, and you find a ton of videos of people who did the deep dives and show you. So, but you're right, it is not well documented.
Yeah. Well, I mean, pretty much the in the keynote is, hi, Apple Watch still exists. Bye.
Okay. One way to sum it up. All right, so check that out. You get you up to speed on all the new stuff that's on Watch OS 11. Interesting. Despite some new ceramic shields, the iPhone 16 model is still a little bit vulnerable to drops. They do have a second generation of ceramic shield material that's Apple says it's even tougher than prior generation ceramic shield. Device insurer provider Allstate Protection Plans today published the results of their annual drop test and give a insight into the durability of the new iPhones. They tested the iPhone 16 Pro Max, which is Apple's largest iPhone to date at 6.9 inches, of course, and it continues to have a glass front and back. And though Apple has introduced a better ceramic shield material that's infused with ceramic for durability, there's still no match for a concrete sidewalk. They used a drop bot to simulate drops from heights of 6 feet, and they conducted that for several tests. The front drop test, it shattered the screen and had some visible scuffs along the titanium frame. The drop rendered the phones unusable, though the haptic responses felt that could be repaired. In the backdrop test, the rear glass shattered after just one drop, and then suffered damage to the camera housing. It remained functional, but including the camera, was not safe to handle. So I think all in all with this, yeah, it's never going to be perfectly from drops. We all drop our phone, and it's good to have cases on, and good. Some people like to have screen protectors. I've lived on the edge, and our friend Chuck Joyner always promotes and says he puts a screen protector on all of his iPhones. But I've gone without them for years and haven't had a problem. So. What do you think about this, Jeff?
You can't beat physics.
Nope, you can't.
And yeah, it sucks that that it is, in the grand scheme of things, easy to break the glass on the front and back of an iPhone. That said, any other iPhone or smartphone with its glass front, it's going to break fairly easily as well. And I will say the number of people that I encounter using smartphones with a cracked screen, I got halfway through that sentence and then it was going the wrong direction. Android users, more of them that I encounter have cracked screens than iPhone users.
Yeah. Hey, it looks like Chuck Joyner is in the chat with us tonight. Hi, Chuck. How you doing? And we just said that we applaud you for putting screen protectors on your phones, but I don't do it.
You call Chuck's name and he appears.
Yeah, that happened.
Other summoning.
Well, we said his name 3 times.
Yeah.
And he appeared.
Last thoughts on this from Ben. What do you think?
Honestly, no matter what they call it, relatively thin glass is relatively thin glass.
Yes.
It's, it might be harder, it might be stronger, it might be better engineered, but the molecular properties of glass are going to be what they are. It's a crystalline structure.
I would agree with that. So just be careful with your iPhone. That's all I got to say. There's a number of times I've dropped my phone, but luckily it's been on like a floor, not on, if the concrete is going to be the kiss of death. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Concrete poisoning is horrible for phones.
Yeah. So,
MacBooks don't fare that well either.
No. Yeah. Sudden deceleration shock syndrome. It's a real thing.
Yeah, for sure here. So, one more. So one thing I'm going to jump on here is a couple tips on iOS 18. I talked about this, and it does. iOS 17 never offered a system-level method for individually locking sensitive apps like photos behind Face ID. There's a shortcut action that provides rudimentary protection, but it's not infallible. It's not infallible. Thankfully, iOS 18, they have a new place to do this: lock and hide iPhone apps. It's very useful because you can unlock your phone and hand it to somebody, and then if they want to look something, but the knowing that they won't be able to open the apps you have locked. And a good example would be if you don't want people to be opening up your bank app, and hopefully you have multi-factor authentication turned on and your Face ID, regardless if you open the app or not. But it is worth noting that not all apps can be locked. Apple does not provide locking options for like maps, clock, calculator settings. I mean, why would you want to lock those? Well, maybe
I
settings.
can tell
don't
you
know.
why you want to lock settings.
Settings. As I said, maybe settings. I
Yeah.
just said that. Go ahead. What do you think?
Yeah, because if your phone's unlocked, like let's say you're at the coffee shop, you've unlocked your phone, done something, you set it down, and you get distracted and someone picks up your phone, you don't want them going in your settings and messing around with stuff in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I would love to be able to lock down settings just like I can lock down my banking apps.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I
So
just had a good
that's
thought. Maybe
go
a
ahead.
lock of your whole phone. Like someone says, "Can I borrow your phone? I have to call my mom." It'd be nice if there was a
No.
button that says lock everything except this phone, so you can.
And then they dial a toll number
Right.
that charges you $500.
Oh boy. Right.
I know. I
Yeah,
just ruined it for you. It's
you
so
did.
hard to be a good Samaritan.
Try to be a nice person.
Yeah.
So then you also have the option of how to lock and hide apps. And I found out the hard way that you can't just lock. You can hide an app, but you have to have Face ID enabled, of course. If you're just using a PIN code, I don't think you can do it. But third-party apps are using this above method. You can also have the option to hide it as well. Again, we talked about system apps like Safari and Photos. You can't do that. And then the app name is removed from the home screen, but it'll show in the app library. So if you scroll over to the app library, there's going to be a little blank section there with all these apps, and you'll see the icon in there, but you can tap it, and then the only way you can get to it, you tap it, and then the only way you can get to it is by tapping it to open it, and then the Face ID will open it after that. So adding some extra added protection, and you have that option where it says hide and request ID. And it's going to have an obscure app icon and name, so you won't be able to see it, and no apps or notifications or calls. When you, for this case, it was showing an example of the app things. It'll also restrict app notifications or calls when it's hidden. So, and then to unlock and unhide them, all you have to do is go back into the hidden, and then you can tap it and you can remove it. So this is a cool feature. I'm glad that they added something like this. Don't you guys think?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wish it would have happened sooner.
I agree. I have one app I wanted to talk about. A lot of people were talking about this week. This was Jason Snell from Six Colors, as well as Dan Moore, and we're also talking about it. This was an app called Croissants, and it simplifies this social media cross-posting on iOS. And that's always been a debacle always. So trying to do these things, and very cool the fact that this developer has come up with a way to simplify the process of multiple social media sites. And you know that it's in the wake of Twitter's Xification, many of us are dealing with a splintered social media landscape. So most of us are on Mastodon and Threads and Blue Sky, and there's so many. So for now, they've got this where you actually can go in and do posting on all three of those, as I just mentioned, Mastodon and Threads and Blue Sky, and there's going to be more coming. So, but you can do it right from an app, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And this is a really cool app. It is free. You can only post to one social media site while it's free. But why not support the developer? In fact, he's offering a $59.99 forever license for it. So
Oh, nice.
I would hope he's going to be able to add like other social media sites like Facebook and Who knows if they'll be able to get X because you know how they did the APIs. So, but you know, all the primary social medias, probably Instagram will probably be added at some point. So it's a nice little app, and I recommend checking it out here. Links in our show notes in this with this article as well. So, all right, let's move on to the news for this week. This was big news this week, and I didn't really get a lot of attention, but a fair amount. Massimo's CEO resigns, raising speculation that blood oxygen could return to the Apple Watch. If you remember, that was the big lawsuit against Apple. Was the Massimo had the patent on the oxygen sensor, and they've now shut it off for all future later Apple Watches and all future ones. So right now, if you buy Apple Watch 10, you will not get it in the U.S. So it's there was some extra analysis about it, but the series of steps that could lead to this that he lost as the founder, that he lost the board chair and completely lost control. But it involves unhappy shareholders in freezing out a board you disagree with. That'll do it.
That'll do it.
But like we said, hanging it in the air is the question: will Massimo's board now be more willing to cut a deal with Apple to end this dispute? Because I think it's in best interest for both companies, honestly. I mean, Apple wants it back, but obviously they gave in and said, okay, we'll hide it. The good thing is all they did was they disabled it, so it is still available on the device because in the EU you still can get it. So if you buy an Apple Watch in the EU, it has it enabled. That's why I was hesitant to upgrade. I kept my Apple Watch Series 9 because it does have it. I got it right when the watch first came out, and then shortly thereafter, then any of the newer stock, it was disabled. So, Jeff, I'm gonna start with you. What do you think about this whole resignation? There's something's fishy with this company now.
Well, I don't have any inside information, so I can only speculate. But my speculation is that that he was ultimately given an ultimatum.
Yep.
And so he chose to resign. And I have a feeling a big part of that was his hard refusal to negotiate with companies, including Apple, maybe especially Apple, I don't know, about licensing. And I have a feeling that the board and shareholders, the rest of the company, they wanted to make something happen. And this is the first step towards that.
Yep. How about you, Ben?
Look, from everything I heard, this guy made the company public, but still wanted to run it like it was his own personal fiefdom. Shareholders got unhappy. They essentially staged a coup. From what I understand, he was pretty. He wanted things a certain way.
Yeah, maybe he should have not taken the company public then. Just saying.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
Right.
and I mean, whether Apple, the idea of revenue from Apple played a part into that is unknown. But end of the day, the people who actually own the company weren't interested in where he wanted to take it as far as revenue goes. And he's gone.
How about you, Jeff? Jill, the final word on this?
Yeah, I like the blood oxygen. I have asthma, so I'm always watching that kind of thing. But interestingly,
Sure.
it also got disabled on the Ultra Watch 1.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe it'd be older, it would survive until something else happened, but it didn't as well. So I'm hoping they come up with a deal now and we get it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That would be very preferable.
Yeah.
All right, a couple more stories before we wrap up this week. Apple Podcasts apps rolling out transcriptions in these 8 additional languages that was starting this week. They are adding Brazilian, Portuguese, Danish, Dutch, Finnish, Italian, Norwegian, Portuguese, and Swedish. And there's a guide here that you can go to and explain how to use the feature in the Apple Podcasts app. It's great that they added transcripts in English when we first started off. I don't use the Apple Podcast app too much. I don't know if anybody else here does, but it's not the transcripts are nice.
I've used it for the transcript.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use it for the transcript when I'm going, what did that person say? So I go to the Apple Podcast and now I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's what they meant. Okay. But no, it's great. I think it's great.
Yep. Anything else you guys want to add?
Yep.
All right. And this is miraculous. This is like, I guess hell froze over. Tableau now has their app on the Apple TV. It only took 2 years.
I guess we really
Yeah.
do live in end times.
I guess so.
Yeah, all it took was me putting a Silicon Dust HD home run, aka their competition,
Oh no.
in my Amazon cart.
Okay, good you didn't buy it.
No, I didn't buy it yet.
Oh no, buy the
I-
Tableau.
Yeah.
Tableau
Uh,
is reasonably priced. If anybody doesn't know what Tableau is, it's a TV device that uses an over-the-air antenna that will allow you to be able to get all of the over-the-air channels, so the local channels, which is nice because these days of the way streaming is going on right now and cord cutting, they're charging more and more money because they have to pay all these local stations big money for this. So this is an alternate way of doing it. Now I'll tell you, depending on where you live, indoor antennas tend to work okay. Where my office is, I've already tried it because I was excited because in Chicago sports, the Chicago Sports Network has just started this past Monday here as we record, and they have over the air channels, which I thought was kind of crazy. You'll be able to watch
Yeah.
the Blackhawks, the Bulls, and the White Sox for free, basically, which was kind of interesting. So, but of course, where the antenna is, I wasn't able to scan and get the channels. So I'm going to try to relocate it back in my other bedroom. Hopefully, we'll get it. It might be worthwhile. And I've followed a lot of these antenna guys that are on YouTube to getting an outdoor antenna if you really wanted to, be able to capture it. And in my area, Chicago area, the reception is pretty really good. I mean, you're going to get digital in most cases. So, but it's a great little device. It does work, and also it includes a lot of streaming channels that are free, like the Pluto TV and a lot of those other free services have too. So they add that into it as well. So you have internet streaming channels as well as over the air channels, and it does have a DVR, so you can record stuff too, which is really cool. So, any thoughts on this, Jeff?
First, if you open the link that you shared, tableautv.com/4-Apple TV, and click on how it works, does it want you to log in to access beta-us tableautv.com?
No. Oh, really? Where's?
Yeah, I get a
didn't try
pop-up that asks me to log in to their beta site. That's super funny. Anyhow,
Well, they must not have updated this yet, because I installed it on my Apple TV and it had no problem. It was in the App Store when I downloaded it. It wasn't beta.
yeah. So they'll need to fix that. But the
Yeah.
fact that this is a thing, good. I'm glad it's a thing. Will I give them high praise for doing this? No, because
No,
they
you
should have
waited
done
too
it,
long.
as Ben pointed out, a long time ago.
Yeah.
But this is something that has made sense to exist. Well, ever since you could actually make apps for Apple TV and Tableau as a device.
Last word on this show?
Well, I've not heard of this before until I read your notes, and so I'm excited to check it
Yeah.
out. We have a 24-hour Xena network over the air, so I think,
Oh,
getting
Nice.
access to this,
All
but,
Xena all the time.
all Xena all the time.
Nice.
But anyway, I
Nice.
think it would be nice
We
to
live in
have
the
this
best
option.
timeline.
They do. All right, last story of the week, and I think this is kind of exciting. Hopefully, it is true. Ted Lasso to return to Apple TV Plus as season 4, which is allegedly confirmed. This will be the returning of the 4th season. This is actually, according to Sigmund Judge, a writer at Mac Stories and co-host of the Magic Rays of Light podcast. In a social media post today, he had confirmed that the pre-production of the smash hit Apple TV's comic series will begin in January in London, England. Apple has yet to confirm the 4th season, but there's no set release date. And then, if you recall, the 3rd season ran from March to May of 2023. And we know what Ted Lasso is. I'm kind of excited. I hope this happens. I really love this show. What do you guys think?
I guess I better finish watching season 3,
Get going.
right?
I could go back
like
and
Ted
watch it again.
Lasso.
That's how much I love that show.
So
Yeah.
I love the show, but there's so many shows that it's easy
Oh,
to
I
get
know.
distracted, and then months later you realize, oh crap, I never finished, and that's where I'm with Ted Lasso. So I better go back and finish that.
Yes. Be ready. All right. With that was a great show this week. We had so much fun talking about Apple stuff and technology, and I'm so glad everybody was here. Everybody was here in the YouTube chat. We all appreciate you being here. So let's go ahead and wrap up for this week. That's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, suggestions to our email address, which is feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Mastodon. It's at intouchwithios at techhangout.social. Support the show by buying me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We would really appreciate it. You can become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/intouchwithios. We have 2 tiers available to support the show. We would really appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, subscribe so you're notified when we are live streaming, which is Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific on our YouTube channel. Cletus was there, and we saw Guy and Witherspoon and a couple others in the chat. We really appreciate it. And that's at youtube.com/intouchwithios, like I said, where you can watch the current and past live streams as well as listen to past shows. Go visit In Touch with iOS magazine on Flipboard, where many of the topics we talk about and discuss are flipped into that magazine. The link is in our show notes. You can subscribe to the show in your favorite podcatcher, including Pocket Casts, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, and you got the transcripts in other languages now, and many others. But better yet, go to our website at intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us is on that website. I am Dave Ginsburg. You can find me on Mastodon at DaveG65 at mastodon.cloud. Jill McKinley, I'm so glad you made it back here this week. Where can people find you?
Oh, you can find, well, now I'm up to 2 blogs, 4 podcasts, and you can find them all at abetterlifeinsmallsteps.com.
All right. And Ben Raythick, thanks for being here as well. Where can people find you?
Well, Dave, you can find me at Ben Raythick on your social media of choice. You can find my writings at Raythick Tech or raythictech.com. Had to think about that for a second. You can also find me occasionally on such podcasts as Mac Voices Live, The Big Show, and The Mac Show on the British Tech Network.
Great. And last but certainly not least, Jeff Gamet, always a pleasure having you here. Where can people find you?
Well, it's always a treat to get to be here, so thank you. All right, for social media, I'm Jay Gamet everywhere. I'm active right now on Mastodon and Instagram. And then for shows, Tuesdays on Chuck Joyner's Mac Voices Live, here with you on In Touch with iOS on Thursdays, on the British Tech Network, the Big Show on Thursdays, the Mac Show on Fridays, then the Context Machine with Brian Chaffin, and Patrice Brendamore and I do Retro Rewatch.
All righty. And thank you for listening, for watching, for supporting the show. We really appreciate it. We love doing this show every week. And there'll be plenty more to talk about next week. Just know it. But until next time, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll talk again soon. All right. I got it right under an hour.
You're just so
Right.
efficient.
Yeah, I guess.
I listen to Jeff and I think I don't podcast enough.
Well, actually, it's probably going to be under an hour because the first few minutes we started.
Right.
No, I probably podcast too much.
Yeah. Well, I'm 2, 3 usually. It's a lot. And then when we have announcements, then it's 4.
Right.
Sometimes 4.
Mhm.
So,
I did one of Allison's whole episodes, which was exciting.
all right.
Well, that's fun.
That's
Yeah,
always
it was fun.
I've done a show with her before. been a long time.
Yeah. But yeah, no, you guys podcast a lot. That's awesome.
We enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm